yesterday, I got some insight in the Rockets organization. Bringing in veterans, they're going to do that. I'm going to tell you this. You're going to hear a lot of noise about Jaylen Brown. He wants out of Boston.
It's the same as Harden. Daryl Morey thought Harden had star-level ability, which he did.
There are guys in this rotation right now that are going to be bench players. They're not satisfied. I don't think Tillman is going to be afraid of Ime Udoka. Frank Vogel is a name. Frank Vogel is a guy who is going to have guys be accountable. Ime Udoka is going to be like that too. Kenny Atkinson is a name. These are some names that I'm hearing out of the organization anyway. They are going to emphasize defense a hell of a lot more. They're disgusted with this, not lack of effort, but lack of ability, quite frankly.
A report is coming out that Houston Rockets want Jaylen Brown, and in the same sense how they got James Harden, they believe Jaylen Brown is their next James Harden, in the sense that when they got themselves James Harden, let me just refresh your memory. So back in the day, 2012, all right, after failing to agree with a contract extension with the Thunder, Harden was traded to the Rockets for DeQuan Cook, Cole Aldrich, and Lazar Hayward in exchange for Kevin Martin, Jeremy Lamb, and 2 first-round picks, which became Steven Adams and Mitch McGary, and a second-round pick, which became Alex Abrines. And Daryl Morey called Harden a foundational player and expected him to be a featured player, despite, him only playing a supporting role behind Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. Obviously, I think Jaylen Brown is a more established player at this point in his career than James Harden was, and plus James Harden was like going into his 5th season. But that's the idea. Let's say they offer the Celtics Jayshawn Tate. I think they're basically their best win now players. All right, is what I was gonna say. And obviously one of those guys is gonna have to be like Jayshawn Tate. So you say 2 or 3 first round picks. We'll say 3 first round picks. Jayshawn Tate, and you gotta get up to close to a lot of money. So let's say if it was this offseason, and the thing is they don't really have to get under the cap because they're under the cap, but the Celtics are gonna want some good players. So you'd assume the deal would have to be around Jayshawn Tate, all right, maybe Tari Eason, and then you maybe rework a couple guys and you send them Jayshawn Tate, Tari Eason, 3 first round picks, and maybe you send Kevin Porter Jr. to a team for Bogdanovich, maybe or Bojan Bogdanovich. You hit up a team to get somebody like that, and you end up saying, here's one of the Bogdanoviches, Tari Eason, and Jayshawn Tate, and 3 first round picks for Jaylen Brown. As a Houston Rockets fan, would you do that? Also, shout out the bench for this information, but it makes sense. It does make sense because Jaylen Brown seems like that guy, and for me, I understand it, and that's what I would do, all right? Because if I'm a team like the Rockets, you need that guy. As much as I love Jalen Green, he looks like he can be an all-star. Jaylen Brown's better and more of a foundational piece. Jabari Smith, and the thing is, Alperen Şengün has the possibility of being a guy like Domantas Sabonis and Nikola Jokic, but he hasn't been able to get the opportunity. So for me, I think it's more interesting if you had Şengün, Jabari Smith, Jaylen Brown, Jalen Green, and all you got to figure out there is if you do trade away Kevin Porter Jr. as a shooting guard, and you can go out in free agency and get yourself one. Or point guard, really, because the shooting guard's Jalen Green. But, in this scenario, you can make Jalen Green the point guard. But, yes. So, for me, I think it brings up this whole situation where, it's a good thing that could happen right here. And I think it needs to happen. It's what's going to allow this team to be able to become this actual, because they said they want to play defense. And in my other video I recently made talking about the head coaching options, all right, I think there are good options out there for, if you are a fan of a team like this. So I want to hear your guys' thoughts down below. If you are a fan of the Houston Rockets, who would you want them to target and why? I think it's definitely an interesting situation that they've put themselves in, and it's only a matter of time till we see what ends up happening. And I thoroughly do enjoy it. I think it's rather cool. Let me hear your thoughts, okay? what would you guys give up for Jaylen Brown? Because I think it also depends on the coach that they get, because we assume that Styles is gone. And we know Frank Vogel, M.A. Udoka, and Kenny Atkinson are like the, interesting candidates. So that's where I'm going to leave you guys. I hope you guys do have a great day. Till next time, guys. Peace. Goodbye, everybody.